first thing that we're going to talk about, we've been pounding the immigration drum for weeks now. So I was super excited when I saw this piece of news.
Dude, I texted you like right after I saw this.
Yeah, and you had texted me, and I was already like, yeah, I saw it like an hour ago, and I loved it. So the Biden administration has announced that it is going to give what is called temporary protected status, or TPS, to about 470,000 Venezuelans.
That's what I'm talking about, Joe Biden.
Yeah, these are people who have just recently crossed the border to seek asylum here. Venezuelans who arrived before July 31st this year are eligible. What this TPS does is it offers deportation protections and, crucially, the ability to work legally for 18 months at least.
This is what we've been asking for right here. This is perfect.
This is exactly it. We're like, we have all these immigrants here. They're not working because they need work authorizations, which take 6 months to apply for and be approved for. Now we can get that out of the way.
We have open jobs specifically in fields where immigrants are most likely to look for work. And the mayors of these cities that have a bunch of these migrants, the governors of the states that are overrun with the migrants, were begging Biden to implement this type of policy and let these people work so they're not reliant on government services. And that's exactly what's going to happen now.
Yeah, it's fantastic. These mayors of these massive Democratic cities all responded, and they were like, this is a great step forward. We're super happy that this happened. One thing that I'm going to note really quick. So TPS still doesn't mean that work authorization is given automatically. They still need to submit applications, and the processing times can be a bottleneck, but this is where the Biden administration, they're so great at solving problems. Part of the announcement is they've included efforts to speed up that process to reduce median processing time from 90 days to 30 days.
This is what happens when we have a government that wants to function.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, they're not trying to slow anything down. They are accomplishing the goals, and they're trying to get these things done. They don't want this to be a political football, right?
Yeah.
Right.
They're just trying to solve the problem. And I absolutely love that. The one thing I would say, I would hope it could be even simpler, because let's be honest, like we have sometimes thousands of these families coming across the border every day.
The other day was 11,000 in one day.
Yeah. I would be hopeful that if you just have an ID from one of these countries that gets TPS, then you're automatically allowed to work. If government authorities ever come and check, they see that you have an ID from there, they say, you're fine. You have TPS. I am not deep enough into the logistics and the paperwork to know exactly how that would go, but at least an idea.
The point is that we want it streamlined, right? We want it to become as easy as possible.
Yes.
Because we just want them to be able to integrate into the economy as fast as possible so that we could all can benefit from it.
Yes.
Right? That's the goal.
And so they're not burdening our government resources, which is what everyone is complaining about so much, and what Biden is trying to end the plight of these local governments. The one other thing I'll say, so why hadn't Biden done this yet?
Right.
You talked last week about how he's worried about touching immigration, how it's too politically sticky. And until now, top officials in the Biden administration had refused to consider the option because they thought it would attract more migrants.
Exactly.
So I totally get that. One thing that he announced, or that the Department of Homeland Security included in this announcement, is, I think it was like one quote that they had in there from the secretary that said, "We want to be very clear that this only applies to people who arrived before the deadline."
Right.
They're doing the best they can to say, this does not mean you can still come in and get this temporary protected status.
They're doing their best to try and say, look, that was a one-time thing, guys. It's not going to happen again. But I definitely understand the conservative perspective and be like, and see this as nobody in these countries that are dealing with economic crises are going to believe that they're not going to do it again.
Yeah.
They're going to know that the Biden administration, if push comes to shove and more Democratic mayors across the country ask him to do this again, that they're going to do it again.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely. And we can't deny that.
No, and I want that to happen. I mean, I'm not going to be, I don't want to lie. Right?
Definitely.
I want more people to come in here and work.
But I don't, and this is why, again, we just need to grease the legal wheels as much as possible. Because we still don't want people to come in illegally. We just want illegally to be a much thinner slice of the immigration pie.
Right.
I think this is about the best you can do at threading the needle. There are going to be people in our comments who say, obviously, it's just going to make more people flock to the country illegally, and you're going to be burdened even more and even more. But of course, they're always gonna say that. It's always gonna be like you took an inch, which is equivalent to taking a mile, and it's not. Okay, to solve these problems, we need to find some kind of middle ground, a middle road, some way to thread the needle. I think you did a good job.
I agree. And I don't want people, I hate when people say like the country's full. We have enough people as it is. Ellis Island took in 5,000 people a day for 9 years straight. Okay. And that was of a country with a much smaller population and a much less amount of metropolitan centers where these people could actually go. Mm-hmm. We have the room, we have the jobs. We don't have the government facilities yet to house these people, but that's why they need to get jobs and pay for it themselves.
Yeah. And that's why they need to come in and start working in the construction industry, which employs migrants at such high rates and has a massive labor shortage right now.
You want to fix the housing crisis? You need to build. Well, guess what? Immigrants make up 23% of our construction jobs, okay?
Yeah.
So if you want to build, let's get more construction workers in the country.
I texted Anthony a report. Maybe I still have it open in one of my tabs here. But it was from a construction group that had 3 suggestions on how to best solve the residential labor shortage. Number 2 is just making sure that more legal immigration can happen.
Right. More legal immigration for unskilled workers. That's really the thing, right? People who don't have college degrees, people who are maybe just have a high school diploma or even less, like those types of people who are the most likely to go into construction, make it easier for them to immigrate.
Totally.